I think that we are facing difficult times for journalism. Many people are blaming journalists today, politicians, but also citizens are blaming journalists, accusing them not to do the job in the proper way. And I think it's yes, the duty of journalist organizations and promoters and defenders of journalism to highlight the quality of our work. Many journalists are working fully dedicated to public interest, and I think to organize that kind of award ceremony is a way to raise, the importance and the values of independent, quality, professional journalism.
So I believe that the first condition necessary for quality journalism is freedom. Journalists need to be free to carry out their profession without fear, and therefore they need to be able to operate in a safe environment. Without that, there is no possibility for quality, independent journalism. Secondly, of course, we also need proper funding, independent funding, we need proper education, and we need also a society and an atmosphere that is supportive of quality journalism. Awards like the one we are giving out tonight are extremely important, first of all, to raise awareness within societies and within the broad audiences about the incredible work and the incredible dangers that journalists face. It is very important to understand that journalism is an expensive work, and is a challenging one. And I believe that very often our readers do not see that. Secondly, it's also very important to motivate young journalists, anybody who is coming new to the profession and is being frustrated by the numerous obstacles they are facing. And thirdly, it's also very important to just thank the journalists who face great risk to bring information which are vital to our democracy.
For me, the most important thing is that people begin to recognize the importance of journalism in building a functioning democracy and showing us the problems that there are in society and helping to fix them. And an award ceremony such as this, which highlights some of that kind of work about peace, civil rights, investigative journalism, shows to people the important work that is being done. The Canadian entry here, for instance, is looking at delayed justice in northern Canada, which is affecting our Indigenous youth the most. They're ending up spending months and months and months in jail just waiting for a bail hearing. They spend more time in jail waiting for the bail hearing than their offense would have actually garnered them as jail time. And it's only through journalism that we know these things. It's only through journalism that we know about corruption in government, that we know about misspending, that we know about people's rights being trampled upon. And journalists can spend the time, dig deep into these things, tell the rest of the world about them, and help to fix the problem. As a journalist, I thought it was the best job in the world. I got to go to work in the morning. If I could convince my editor that something was interesting, I got paid to go and investigate about it and look at it, talk to people about it, and at the end of the day, tell the rest of the world about it. And there's no better job in the world than that. So that's a personal thing. But then for the reader, they're getting to read that thing that I found interesting or important and expand their own understanding of their society. And it's not just about the big investigative pieces either. The nice story about, the woman who saved a dog or something. That's heartwarming. It tells other people in the city that we've got a loving, caring society that takes care of stray dogs, say. And that helps to build community as well, just as much as the investigative stuff does, I think.
I think women journalists in the world are at the receiving end, despite the fact they're doing some of the best journalistic work across the world. If you see what's happening in Philippines with Maria Ressa, what's happening in South Africa with Feria Lepaji, what's happened with me in India, you see that women are at the forefront at fighting fascist regimes or at fighting right-wing regimes. And the only way to target them is, one, to intimidate them, to silence them, sexual intimidation, character assassination. So the women journalists are basically, are being criticized all over the world because they are showing populists and demagogues the mirror, and that's a very important job at this point of time. So there is a war on women worldwide. I come from India. There is a nationwide protest against the Citizenship Amendment Bill, and those at the forefront who are opposing the fascist government in India are women. So the backlash is only logical because women who speak their mind are never acceptable by any fascist leader. It's never, I think, in a country like India, which is so patriarchal, where women are not really given the role of covering political or undercover operations or investigative journalism. So we have to break the glass ceiling. That's what women journalists need to do, that we have to tell ourselves first before anybody else that we can do it. We always, get told by others that you can't do it. I think many journalists who are coming nowadays are coming from less privileged backgrounds. They are being intimidated, yet they are speaking truth to power. What women journalists should do is not really, let anyone belittle their work or not let anyone cast aspersion on their own integrity, on the way they do their journalism. So I think they should not be scared because the world thinks that they're not good enough journalists, or women should only do entertainment journalism, or women should do lifestyle. I think some of the biggest stories across the world are being broken by women, and women have to follow strong women. Women have to help other women when they come in position of power. When they become strong, they should go out and help out other women. I think that's the way to be.
I work with the Thomson Reuters Foundation, and we report on a range of human rights issues. Slavery is one of the most important verticals that we cover. Under the umbrella term of slavery, we look at all forms of slavery and what's causing people to be in this life, to live this life of human suffering. And which is why I did this report, the investigation, which was on women being targeted by private unscrupulous doctors who were cheating them into a medical surgery that they did not need in many cases, and for which they were taking big loans and were getting trapped into slave labor to repay the loans. Better awareness is one of the biggest preventions to a problem like this, and journalists play a big role in that, in terms of creating awareness, in terms of the reportage that they do. Even if they are health reporters, if they are health journalists, there's a wide range of reportage that they can do to make women aware of what's needed as a medical procedure, what's not, quoting experts from the field to make them aware what they should be going for, or if a doctor is advising them something, at least they should have the awareness that they are allowed to take a second opinion and not jump at the first suggestion that has been given to them. So yes, awareness is the biggest thing that journalists can do right now.
I tend to think that you're right, Canada is a great country, and we don't have anywhere near the extent of issues, especially human rights abuses that are happening in some other areas of the world. So I think we're very fortunate, and I'm very fortunate, to be able to be here. So in terms of how I can make a difference, that's something I think about in my work all the time, and that's why I wanted to become a journalist. I think that there has to be a separation between journalism and activism. So I think that the best way for me to make a difference is by continuing to report the truth and continuing to uncover the issues that remain hidden. And there's always more stories to tell, there's always more work to do, so that's what I hope to be able to do.
I think journalism could contribute for peace by the priority must be the human beings. As I said, that's a story about this poor banana seller who killed in Yemen. There is many other stories. Even it was very hard to us to choose only one story. We had too many stories like that, and so if you just put your eyes on the suffering and pain of the ordinary people, you will be on the right side, and even just you don't need to make a propaganda, even a humanitarian propaganda. You just need to publish the right news, right facts, right information. But it is also with this humanitarian, with this human sense, how this will be useful, who will take the advantage to be in your story, and you need to be searching for the untold story, not the leaders and the national stories, something like that. It's already done. It's already had too much platforms and too much people to speak about this, and to be as soldiers of the country and this side of this. And all of us are soldiers also to our countries. It's not a bad thing, but if you are a soldier to your country, you work for your country by saying the truth, by saying what's wrong with my country, how my country can improve its behavior, how my country can be more useful to all of its people, all of everyone living in this country, not just a small number of them, not just the people who are in this authority. I'm coming from a very dangerous country in this aspect about journalism, and to be honest with you, I don't want to say that every journalist need to be a hero and need to be just can accept to go to jails or maybe killed. Okay, some of them can do this, but if you cannot do this, at least you can be supporter of your colleagues who can do this. At least you can stand in supporting the right side, or at least just don't be on the wrong side. If you cannot say the truth, if you are if you don't have, you cannot be encouraged to do this, at least you can just don't support the other propaganda, fake news, and these sort of things that we know this happened in our countries.